I'm not sure it's that cold, but, well, actually it is. 13 degrees. It is chilly down there. Even Scott Cummings is looking for a warm jacket. A day for scarves and beanies and to get rugged up. 13 degrees. Will be some rain about during the course of the afternoon. Saints have won the coin toss through their, well, embattled skipper Luke Ball, who's enjoyed a 9-day break from last week's loss to Geelong. They'll head to the city end, the right of screen, St Kilda, in the opening term. They're returning here to this ground for the first time since their fateful preliminary final last year, when they were outscored 7-0 by the Swans in the last quarter. They had won their prior 6 matches at this ground. Carlton have been here for the last month of footy, so they know this place intimately.
They certainly do. There's been a lot of talk about Luke Ball this week, whether he should be rested. He's had a longer break than usual, but didn't look too flash last week. It'll be interesting to see how he goes today. Did train very well during the week, though, I've heard.
I reckon their biggest concern here, St Kilda, will be the big P word. That is pace. It's Peckett, it's Powell, and it's Thompson, because those 3 players, whenever they're in trouble, they bring them in. But I guess it does expose them a little bit to genuine pace. Now, whether Carlton can exploit that or not is, I guess, the challenge for Dennis Pagan and their young group.
Well, maybe that's why they've got a Luke Blackwell in, who's 19 years of age, with an 18-year-old Kennedy, an 18-year-old Murphy, a just-turned 20-year-old Walker, a 19-year-old Eddie Betts. So there's some youthful exuberance about this Blues team. Little bit of bumping going on already as Powell is colliding with Thornton at one end of the ground. There's Thompson and Houlihan. There's going to be some heat on early. It's the 200th meeting since 1897 of these two clubs. The Saints have only ever won 41 of them, but they have won their last 6. The ageless one, Robert Harvey on screen. Saints to the right, Blues to the left. Fox Footy Sunday is go. Ackland against McLaren. In hard off the line there was Favola. Wiggins to run onto it. Good pick up. Houlihan, look out.
That's a great
Stevie Milne making a statement back in the team after being dropped last week. There's Schwartz diving on it. Bentick wraps him up. Our umpires wide for sound. Brett Allen, Matthew Nichols and Kieran Nichols. Stephen Milne there. Good start.
Well, if the first 30 seconds is any indication, Wayne, we're going to be on the edge of our seats.
Luke Ball trying to get through. Murphy with the tackle. Ball, the handball to Harvey, to Stephen Milne. Alex to play on. Welcome back, Stevie. It didn't take long. He had kicked just 8 goals in the first 6 weeks. They left him out of last week's loss to Geelong. Stephen Milne is back.
No, they look sharp, St Kilda. They're on their game, chasing from behind, tackling. Good use of the ball from, as you can see here, Stevie Milne. Great tackle. And Grant Thomas would have enjoyed that more than what he did the goal, because that tells you that St Kilda are on. Lance Whitnell playing at full back. We know that he's been playing very well at centre half-back, reading the play. Won't be able to do that as much when he's that deep, Jared.
No, it's a good move for them, but Fraser Gehrig's his only likely matchup, because Riewoldt just simply has got too much run with him. Interesting to see Luke Ball lining up on a wing, not going in for the heavy maul, ruck work stuff, the centre bounce.
It's Wiggins against him as McLaren palms it down, follows it up, tries to shovel it out. Nick Stevens in his 50th game in a Carlton jumper gets it out to the aforementioned Wiggins. Long to half forward, and it literally lands in the lap of Koutoufides. He looks like he reckons he's too far out. He goes deep. Wait in a wrestle. Oh, from the side. Good Mark Maguire.
This is the bloke that's got a lift for the Saints. We all admire him. He was so close to All-Australian selection last year that maybe he thought it was just a matter of turning up this season, but he's a genuine A-grader who's not playing his best, but he's got a good start.
And that's what he does best, Jared. Reads the play, comes across packs, hits packs hard.
Stephen Baker on half-back. Will switch to the outer side. That's all right. He finds Sam Fisher.
And here he goes now.
Yeah, good running.
On the wing.
In trouble.
Kicking long to centre half forward, Lance Whitnell. And how Gehrig reacts to when Lance peels off him will be interesting today as well. Thornton now going short to the wing for Mark Murphy.
Well, Matty Maguire let himself down there with that kick. He just laid back, didn't get his body through it, and it scrubbed it off the side. Walker.
The centre half back for Whitnell, and he's going long. That's a good ball. Wait, finding space. Favola, his opponent slipped. That was Fisher. The kick was Australia, fed by a fraction. And Fisher wins a free. Advantage play on for Maguire. Goes to the outer side and finds Lenny Hayes.
Both players, all players on each side are finding a bit of space. Doesn't seem to be too much one-on-one football at the moment.
Hayes pops it up to half forward. Bit of a wrestle. Schwartz and Saddington. Murphy in from the side. Had 19 touches and a couple of goals here against the Bombers last Sunday. Starts well, although the kick... Hang on. A free kick for a hold St Kilda's way.
Yeah, against Nick Stevens, as we heard, holding on by the jumper.
Baker.
And you can see St Kilda with 2 or 3 loose men who can bring it out because the other guys are dropping back into the flood.
This is Lee Fisher with his first game for the year.
Good running Goddard.
Setting it up, it ends up with Goddard on the northern side of the ground. To half forward for Milne. Walker is against him. Milne, look out, he'll play on it every chance. Goes to Gehrig. Whitnell kept his feet well.
Yeah, there's a real challenge for the umpire there, and he has been true to the changes in the rules because clearly the arms were taken out of the G-train. Didn't have any option, Lance Whitnell, but let's have a look at it on replay. The arm gets pulled down, and that's a reasonably fair free kick.
I think that's why the rule was brought in. There's a lot of ticky-touch-wood ones where, you know, an arm might just get touched or slapped and the free kick gets paid, but that's a genuine free kick because the arm was pulled down.
Gehrig had just 3 touches for all of last week and kicked a goal, and he's got his first goal now, less than 5 minutes in.
Well, they've got all the ingredients right now, the Saints. They've got good run out of defence. They've got forwards that are pushing up. They've got 2 blokes that have had 2 set shots, or 1 set shot and 1 on the run, and both have delivered. Midfield is getting the ball from the centre. It's a pretty good start. Carlton need to just settle and get one on the board.
They do. It's their use of the ball off half-back. They're able to create that loose player. Then they create that run off half-back. And as they've come into the forward line on both occasions, they've used it to their advantage.
Opening 2 goals for the Saints. Centre clearance important. Remember, the Saints smashed in the clearances last Friday night. Wiggins out wide. White guarded by Maguire. White, good mark. Too far out to score.
Won the last 2 centre clearances. Both blokes coming off the wing, taking it away.
Target for Vola.
Oh,
Kate Simpson nearly thieved it away from him. In the end, the Saints will emerge. Ackland's hurried kick, though, will sit up for McLaren, although the G-train clicked into high gear. Starts well. Schwartz.
Riewoldt one out. He's got to lead up.
He's going to get it.
He's one of the best at doing that, Jared. That was great footage.
Thought about passing it off. Now we'll go back.
The important thing about that lead was he knew that the kicker had plenty of time to make his decision, so he could call it long. He waited, and as you said, he's got to come forward. And exactly when you said that, Jared, that's exactly what he did, purely because the kicker had plenty of time to use the footy and used it well.
17 for the year, Nick Riewoldt. This one across the face for a behind.
I don't think we'll go through a year without talking about Nick Riewoldt kicking a goal, so we won't talk about it today.
The Saints 3 and 4 enter this round 10th on the ladder. The Blues 2 and 5 in 12th place. And Saddington needed to mark that because there's some numbers. Sam Fisher trying to paddle it back for Milne and Ackland. In the end, the Blues help arrives and locks it in for the time being, but Del Santo is there. High ball, Riewoldt in a wrestle with Thornton, and he wins. Plays on. Stephen Baker the goal. Saints off to a flyer.
Well, that was just beautiful body work by Nick Riewoldt. A lot of players in that situation don't know when to let go to take the mark. They usually leave it that split second too late. As you can see here, both players are in a bit of a grapple. Riewoldt knows when to give that short shove to take the mark and unselfishly give the handball off. But just get the feeling that Thornton, he hasn't been in the best of form, and when he's not in form, he worries about the body rather than the ball. And if he worries about the body today, Nick Riewoldt will have a field day.
Down on the boundary line, Scotty Cummings, they've made one change with Corey McGrath coming on, but after such a bad start, I reckon Matthew Lappin's got to be close.
Well, you'd want to put your best blokes who are, the best of the in and unders right in amongst it. So, Jared, we'll see how good you are. I reckon we'll see him soon.
Saints get it again. Hayes from the wing. Long in the direction of Riewoldt. Thornton tried to mark. Milne crumbs. Can't bounce it home.
We might get the boys to get that replay up, because there's a classic where Andrew Walker did the unselfish thing. He went up to try and help his mate out to spoil, because Riewoldt had beaten him the last time, and yet it was his man at the fall of the ball that nearly snagged the goal.
Walker.
It's almost like, Jared, you have to have confidence in your teammate. You have to have confidence in Thornton to do the job and stay with your man. If your man goes up, you go up. If your man stays down, unless you're certain, if you're certain of getting a fist on it, that's when you go up.
Whitnell down the centre corridor with a kick reach. Stevens on the bounce, collides with Baker, who's tough. He'll bounce back. Powell brought down. Hot footy just for the time being. Maguire's in there. Waite as well will get a bounce.
Well, they've got it queued up already. Good work from the lads downstairs. There you see Walker going up.
For the mark, though, Jared.
For the mark.
For the mark. He had to get a good fist on that, punch it a good 10-15 metres towards the boundary, and Milne would have been out of the contest.
Ackland down for Thompson. Ball going nowhere in a hurry. Wiggins for Koutafidis. Has Simpson to his right. Gives it to him. Finds some space. Wants to hit the leading Favola. Can he do it? Yes.
Good start. He's a good kid, this Simpson.
And Favola hangs onto the mark.
On his left, and on that occasion on his right, is a damaging kick, and you'd love him if you were Brendan Favola.
Have a look at this mark. I think the umpire there has given Favola a good 5 metres.
He's been generous, hasn't he?
Because he didn't mark it until outside 50 because he fumbled the ball. But
the man on the mark's been spotted. I reckon he's going to come in 1 or 2, but at about 47-48, and that could be the difference.
Mind you, Brendan is a beautiful kick of the football from this distance. I don't think the extra 3 or 4 metres would bother him too much.
7 in the gloom here last week against the Bombers. High kick, missing to the right-hand side.
He got a bit close to the man on the mark.
Awfully close, didn't he? He may not have known where the mark was in the finish.
Carlton's first score took 10 minutes. Not a bad crowd on this Sunday afternoon, although it's a lot warmer where you are, watching live and exclusive around Australia on Fox Footy as Luke Ball takes the mark. Goes short for Harvey. Set up for an anxious moment for the Saints fans, but Harvey marks, takes off, has Lee Fisher on the run. He's got it. Plays on, delivers to half forward for Voss.
Kick.
And McLaren closed late. Big man did well. And that will engineer possession for the Blues. Now, the familiar gait of Jared Waite on the run. Awkward, wobbly ball. One-on-one duel. Favola reads it well. Question of accuracy. Oh, he was being very creative there, the old Fev, and it didn't work.
No, that wasn't the right decision from Fev. That was a little bit too much lair for Dennis Pagan's liking, I'm sure. That could have just been a set shot, Wayne.
Look, he just set it up so beautifully. The use of the body, he felt Maguire coming. He was able to just use his hip without giving a free kick away, run into an open goal. He either had to kick that on his left foot low or do a lot better than what he did. Far too cute.
McLaren won't get there to spoil as Luke Ball takes the mark, plays on, good promising build-up. Jason Graham runs and carries well. 55 out, hurries a kick, misses badly to the right-hand side for a behind.
They're the sorts of shots you go for, Jared, when you're 10 goals up in the last quarter, not when you need a goal urgently in the first quarter because it's 3-0.
Oh, Walker careless there. Didn't know Harvey was going to run and play on and deliver the Riewoldt on the lead. The veteran guile of Robert Harvey was just a little bit too clever for Andrew Walker on that occasion.
Well, he's been doing that his whole career, Robert Harvey.
Why should Andrew Walker be any different? He might as well get made to look silly occasionally like the rest of us have.
The view from the southern side of the ground as Nick Riewoldt splits the middle. Saints get number 4.
Well, it's going to make this miss look awfully more damaging. It just wasn't the right option at that stage for Fev.
No, he just had...
He'll think it through and get back, but the other end of the ground, they've just gone bang, bang, and Robert Harvey, the old school, he was up and off. He wasn't going back and sitting and having a cup of tea looking for the decision. He made his mark, move on the run. And whilst there's been a lot said about Nick Riewoldt's goal kicking, I reckon he is kicking a lot better than he was at the start of the season. And even the one he missed today looked more as if it was just a problem with his run accuracy rather than his kicking accuracy.
Hayes, Del Santo, Ball, a classy trio. Ball to full forward. Thornton gets the front spot and takes the mark.
That's better.
Matty Lappin just come on the ground for Josh Kennedy, racing straight down back now, Jared.
Bit of experience on, and I think he'd be stung by being on the bench. He's a proud player and he's got a proud record to protect.
Oh, not a great deal of talk there. Might come okay. Murphy. The Blues spotting the Saints. A 4-goal start. Whitnell. Wiggins down behind play. Get to it in a moment. Favola being held. Wins a free kick.
He's in trouble too, is Simon Wiggins.
Favola goes hurriedly into the pocket. Waite and Maguire. Maguire wins out. Harvey does well. Look at that kick. They're up and about the Saints. And so's Wiggins, which is good news. Fisher going all the way to fullback and Goddard. Now Lee Fisher. Running in waves here. He can still go. 3 bounces. Graham to his left. He's had a sider. Can he kick true this time? Still no. Four plays 2 behinds.
Brett Voss running hard from the ground. He's being replaced by Peckett. Justin Peckett onto the ground, and Jason Blake also on for the Saints.
Murphy. Out wide. They've got a 2-on-1. This is Walker.
This is tough work in the forward line for Carlton.
Maguire the spoil.
They've got 2 men each to beat. Waite and Favola. It's a 2-man forward line on that occasion anyway.
A lot of talk about Luke Ball during the week. Had 6 possessions already.
Yeah, he's been travelling very well.
We'll celebrate his 22nd birthday next week as Baker's wrapped up. We'll get a bounce. 60 out from the Carlton goal.
Hey, Steve.
The Carlton bench. Kennedy Blackwell making his debut today. DeLuca and Bentic. Baker extricating it from a pack in the direction of the veteran Powell. And he goes hurriedly. The loose man back there. The ruckman filling the gaps for Carlton. McLaren takes the mark and will go to Thornton. Now is the switch on for them. Thornton carrying it across half back. Down the middle he goes with a kick, and it's going to be chopped off. Very well read by Stephen Baker.
Nowhere to go though, the Saints.
Milne. A clever kick. Got it to Fisher. Long for Riewoldt.
That's it.
Play on, 1 behind.
How'd you see that, Wayne? It looked like a hold to me.
Yeah, I think he might have been held for that. Sorry, Jared, for that split second. Yeah, you can see there. That's definitely a hold. I mean, you'd prefer that to be paid than those silly little chops of the arm sometimes when a player gets held like that. And it's only a hold for a split second, but enough for Riewoldt not even to get his arms near the ball.
Umpire saying play on. Well, Settington's entitled to stand there if he wants. He now trots away. And kicks long to a 1-on-2, and the Saints will just, well, raffle it. Blake glides in from the side.
Just got to do better than they've got to work it out. I mean, they've dropped the bloke off, nobody on the mark. Well, if you kick it long to a pack in a contest, particularly when you're outnumbered, well, you're just basically falling in for the St Kilda trap.
Troy Schwartz playing on. Maguire.
He is excellent at that.
Neat little sidestep and a long penetrating kick deep to the Gehrig direction. Who's waiting down? Scotland. First time we've called his name, and it was an impressive touch. Spinning out of trouble. Hitting Mark Murphy. Again, no one long, so has to square it up. Wiggins, good recovery. Crosses midway. Running down the middle, the big man DeLuca. Fev wants it long. Goes in his direction. Favola's got it. Well, he's presenting up there and he's doing his bit. Now he's got to kick truly.
He has. He's worked hard, Fev. He's had a couple of opportunities. But
it's almost prototype footy, this coming off the back, getting it to the big man who ran through the lines and got it deep into their forward line, deep enough for Favola, who was in space to get the ball one out.
I think he's playing better footy, Fev, when he gets up the ground a bit and then works back towards the goal square, rather than just be one-dimensional straight out of the goal square, Jared.
He kicks his first. And Carlton needed that. After 18 minutes, they get their opening goal.
It just seems that he's working a lot harder up the ground. We saw him before try to put a tackle on Maguire until Maguire stepped around him, but seems to do a lot of his work up around half forward, even gets up onto the wings these days, and you could say that this has been his best start to a year for a little while.
And his starting position now is about 40 or so metres from the goal mouth.
And Robert Harvey's just come off for a break too, in true form too. Looks absolutely buggered, but I'm tipping he's got about another 18 Ks left in him.
He always does look buggered, and then he takes off. It's his trademark. Stand at the boundary throwings with the hands on the knees.
Yeah, yep. Suck everyone in.
Yeah.
Nice smother from Bentic there as well.
Peckett towards half forward. Scotland, good mark. Crowd 150, it's not forthcoming. He goes to DeLuca.
He's had 3 possessions or 2 possessions and a pretty handy ruck tap in the last few minutes. Looks good.
So Cole today he's wearing 2 gloves. Thornton at halfback. About to enter time on. 5.5 minutes or so remaining in the quarter. This is Whitnell.
Yours.
Back for DeLuca, presenting.
Unless you've got a problem with your hand, you've had an operation or a finger or a thumb. Not a fan of the gloves. Can't understand why players wear them.
He pops it up for Favola in a pack of many. Waiting down Goddard for Graham, back to Goddard. Off a bounce, long Riewoldt has got it. Great stuff there by the Saints. And Goddard, who turned 21 yesterday with the setup for Riewoldt.
Well, the turnover has slaughtered Carlton at the moment because they just haven't had numbers back, and this is a superb kick, and well done to Riewoldt too, because he was actually in that position as the ball was turned over. He pushed up to create space behind him, pushed closer to the members' stand, and then knew the ball was going to be there behind him. That one is a shocking kick.
And if you have a look at his kicking action, he had a bent leg on that occasion, and that's why he missed the goal.
But I think one of the things to come out of this for the Saints is that they've just got to get better at creating more space in their forward line than they did against Geelong. Otherwise, everyone is just going to do the Geelong double flood on them.
Scotland trots across half-back, goes out wide. Saddington paid the mark.
And essentially that lesson has had to be learned since the last time St Kilda played here, Clinton, against the Swans, where they were broken in the end and had a horrible loss.
Now McGrath affecting the switch for Whitnell. Running hot, Lance, with 5 marks in the last 20 minutes.
7th possession.
The bulk of those, as we know, uncontested, is Jared Waite. Marks on the northern wing. Now Favola provides the lead, going wide. Waite goes to him. Can Favola get there? Kick will drop short. Febb's brought down. Umpire said he must have been in possession. Play on. Del Santo prizes it clear and finds the G-train on the wing.
Lance will be happy if he takes all his marks in that position.
I think St Kilda will be too, though, because it leaves a lot of space for Nick Riewoldt.
Montagna trying to take on Murphy. Underestimated the young man perhaps as Graham centres it. Finds Justin Peckett. He goes short. That's all right. Now Maguire. Saints looking damaging inside of 3 minutes to go. Quarter number 1. And very wide ball. That's all right for Lee Fisher.
Well, there's a wall of 8 Carlton players all unmanned, so they've got to find a hole.
Ball. Finds that hole to Baker.
He's actually hurt the Blues a lot, Stephen Baker, because he's tagging Nick Stevens, and Nick Stevens' mindset is always to get away from the tagger, to get the ball, get the possession. That's his job. But Baker has pushed forward a couple of times now. He's got 1 goal already, and he should probably convert this one.
Nick Stevens right with him, though. Can't be too critical. more often than not, the tag player would be on the other side of the ground waiting for it to come out.
Baker's kick is good. The Saints get their fifth.
Well, they've been working on their entries into their forward 50 all week, I believe. As you said last week, they were very disappointed in the way they brought it into Nick Riewoldt and also Fraser. They bombed it in at times, and I don't think there hasn't been too many occasions that they've bombed it in today. They've used it very well. But in saying that, Jared, Nick Stevens comes off the ground because of that goal by Baker.
And Stevens with just one handball for the match so far.
Well, that's probably more so for the fact that he's only had the one handball. Baker kicks that goal. When you're being tagged, taggers more often than not try to get forward to kick goals, so they make you accountable. At least Nick was within a metre.
Yep.
Baker with 2 goals today. Had only kicked 1 all season prior to this. And it's becoming a procession now as Riewoldt charging out, marked strongly on his chest. All the talk about Chris Judd's opening 100 games of his career. Well, Nick Riewoldt hasn't been bad either. Twice a best and fairest. His 100th game is coming up next Sunday against the Kangaroos at the Dome. This is number 99.
Thornton just getting caught behind on a couple of occasions. Wonder if they might throw the job to Walker at some stage during this game. He's had a couple of big jobs.
Riewoldt squeezes it through for his second.
It's a fair point to make, Clinton, about Nick Riewoldt. It almost seems an eternity ago that Nick Riewoldt, pre his injury, was regarded as the best player in the game as a 21 or thereabouts year old.
Yep.
He struggled a little bit last year, obviously, with his injury and his form and confidence, etc. But he too has had a magnificent start to what should be a very long career. Let's hope it is a long career.
Long career for that man, Dennis Pagan, and it continues, but in a pained look on his face at the moment in this quarter. 6-6 to 1-2. Quarter time siren could not come quickly enough. What does he readjust by way of matchups at the quarter time break, if at all?
I just think that St Kilda are getting far too much space. It's all right having players behind the ball, trying to get a few players behind the ball, but if your opposition players are using the ball better and winning more of it, they will destroy you, and that's exactly what's happening to the Blues at the moment.
Hayes to Graham, 55 out. Third time lucky, is it touched on the line?
Well done, Lance.
Jason Graham has kicked just 1 goal in his career, so he's really trying for that second one today. Final minute opening term, 35 points adrift the Blues. Here's Simpson.
Dennis Pagan's already made 1 change there. Lance Whitnell's gone on to Nick Riewoldt now, and so expect to see him further up the ground and Fraser Gehrig closer to goal.
Waiting at the back, Lappin can't get there. Gehrig's got it. Lappin's got him. Gehrig does well, stands up in the tackle, gets it to Voss. Saints dominating the clearances. Goddard happy to go backwards for Blake as we tick down to 30 seconds.
I reckon they're dominating across here as well. They're getting so much run off the half-back line. Jason Graham could have kicked 2 or 3 goals already.
Good deep kick there for Peckett. Still time, the Saints. Riewoldt doesn't lead yet, wants it long, comes to him, he's got it. Oh, what a quarter this has been by Riewoldt. Had he kicked straight, this could be goal number 5 coming up. As it is after the siren, it should be his 3rd.
He seems to be more comfortable just at the moment with Fraser Gehrig up the ground. They've used that a couple of times this season with not as much success, but today it's really working well.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk that the times that Fraser Gehrig hasn't played, Nick Riewoldt's usually kicked a bag of goals. And, well, basically what you're saying, Jared, if he does play further up the ground, it's more or less like he's not playing. If you like, he's not playing in the forward line anyway.
What a quarter from the Saints. Led by 3 goals from Nick Riewoldt. They have blown this game apart with a 7-goal-to-1 quarter, and they lead by 41 points.
Yes, it's been an impressive start by St Kilda, and it's purely been a case of they've been able to win the ball off half-back, use it well through the midfield, and as they've come forward, they definitely haven't wasted it today. They've got it to their big forward in Nick Riewoldt, and he hasn't let them down. Could have easily had 5.
He's taken 6 marks, and that's a pretty key figure inside forward 50. A great start by the Saints.
41 points, their lead at quarter time on Fox Footy Sunday. One-way traffic at the MCG, the opening term on Fox Footy Sunday. 3 to Riewoldt, a couple to Baker, singles to Gehrig and Milne. 7 in all for the Saints. 41 points to the good of Carlton. 86 touches to 64 overall. And the inside 50s, 16 to 7 in favour of the Saints. Let's head down to ground level and Scott Cummings.
Well, there's a very, very good look to the St Kilda side here. They came in, they're very, very positive, but a lot of resolve about them, making sure that they don't get complacent and to kick on with this. Well, the Carlton boys, they came in fired up at each other, demanding more bodies on the line and demanding more helping each other out and getting numbers over to the footy. The swirling breeze here is favouring the right of screen just marginally. We'll see if Carlton can, like they said, put their bodies on the line and get a bit more ferocious this quarter.
All right, Scott, thanks for that. 2 other matches being played today to conclude round 8 at Amy Stadium and the Telstra Dome. Replays coming up here on Fox Footy after we're done with. So if you want to treat those games as live, look away now. St Kilda made 5 changes to the team that lost to Geelong last week by 3 goals. One of the players that had been dropped and was welcomed back was Stephen Milne, and he started in an ideal fashion. He made a statement early, putting the tackle on Ryan Houlihan, and then a moment or two later kicking one of St Kilda's opening 7 goals in the first term. And a little bit of a spark back in this side as well, which was lacking last week. Always looking a more dangerous forward outfit when he's around.
And you spoke of Ryan Houlihan. He currently is on the bench. We can have a look at the St Kilda bench there. There's a few years of experience there sitting beside each other. Peckett and Harvey.
Jared Waite with Cooter, Nick Stevens up forward for Carlton. Got to kick a couple early here or the game will be fast slipping away by half-time. There is Houlihan on the bench with Lappin and Blackwell and DeLuca for the Blues. Second term here on Fox Footy. Carlton to the city and the right of screen. 41 points behind. Luke Ball with a high one towards half forward. Simpson tracking it well. The clearances, which we mentioned that St Kilda lost last week, they're trailing 6-3 on that front here. Saddington switches to the outer side. The run being provided by Thornton.
Josh Kennedy pushed back onto the ground, and he looks like he's playing deep forward, trying to sneak in behind Brendan Favola.
Better build up here by the Blues. Scotland's got it 60 out. All 36 players in Carlton's attacking half. So not a lot of room for these guys. There is the aforementioned Josh Kennedy. Very wide lead.
So we're at the level now, Wayne, where Grant Thomas says, righto boys, let's just lock this up.
Well, I wouldn't like to think so. They've played very good footy. There's no need to lock it up, but they've definitely got their numbers behind the footy at the moment. And
17 down there, and G-Chain's just jogged up the other end.
And that's slow play. And when there is a slow play like that, that's when your foot skills are at a premium. That's when you really have to make sure you hit the body, because they're 15-20 metre short kicks. You have to try to spot someone in that forward 50 with, like you said, 30 odd players in a small area. So you have to hit your targets.
This is umpire Allen with the bounce. Favola the hit out. Eddie Betts nearly but not quite. Baker wrapped up by Bentic high.
Just I reckon has put a premium on players like Ryan Milne. You can kick outside 50 accurately. Just go over the top of the flood.
That helps.
Ackland juggles the mark, intends this one for Graham. Gets it on. They had the overlap out wide. Lee Fisher brought down. Good pressure by Waite. Wiggins as well. Will they be rewarded? Yes.
He's knocked this one out. Now the crowd really roaring.
Well, this is an interesting one here because there's a free kick. No, but there's a free kick.
And 50 now because the ball was not knocked back in the right fashion from Graham. He is furious. Wiggins will have a shot at goal.
Okay, so that's a 50-metre because of that reason. But should it be a 50-metre? Yeah, should it be a 50-metre, though? Here's the 50-metre. We'll have another look at it here. He didn't give the ball back. Might have been a bit harsh, but
I
thought that when Jared Waite got thrown on the ground, he got up, tried to play on quickly to run into space. He got thrown to the ground, so therefore he couldn't run into space. Should that be 50?
Wiggins' kick is a poor one. And a let-off. Well, some feeling here early in the second term as ball starts off. Didn't really know where he was going to end up. Loops it over the top for Goddard.
Clinton, generally, Wayne has gone off at about round 4 last year when he started cooking umpires. He's been disciplined this year, but it is round 8, and I can feel the vibrations.
Boundary throw in on the wing. Right near Scott Cummings at ground level.
Yeah, well, they've come out firing, haven't they, Carlton? A lot better, a lot more talk out there, and they look to be working together a lot better.
Betts, can he get the handball away? No, Graham.
Been a good pickup for them, Graham.
Yep. Del Santo caught by McLaren, got it to Hayes. Oh, sold the dummy beautifully.
This time.
Deserves a goal.
4 for 4.
Gee whiz. Jason Graham with 0-4. For a man who's kicked just 1 goal in his life, he's saying, please, it's got to be coming soon.
His run's excellent, though. He's reading the play well. He's a real improver. He's not Ozzie Jones, but he's really giving them another option.
He's been terrific. An equal game-high 9 touches as McGrath marks.
Oh, you wouldn't believe that. G-Train.
Riewoldt handing it off. Milne ducking out of would-be tacklers. Going back for the G-Train. Bentic putting his life on the line, getting in front. Does well. Lappin has Saddington.
Was that the old stooge from Nick Riewoldt, do you think? He ran past and called for the handball.
Yep. Still Saddington. Eddie Betts now.
And Matthew Lappin has been pushed back into defence. He's got his hand up. He wants to run it. No, he doesn't. He wants the footy.
Saints again willing to get back there. You see the view that Matthew Lappin has. Crowded midfield. Goes short. Saddington again.
They're definitely playing more defensively now, the Saints. They weren't doing this sort of play early.
Lappin back to Saddington.
Which astounds me because they're kicking goals. Why wouldn't you want to keep kicking goals?
Scotland high. Walker doesn't mind getting airborne. Waite's dragged down. The ball is held in there and we'll get a bounce.
Have a look at this for a steal.
Oh, no, I think he tried to go over to the top to Simpson, but didn't execute the ball too well.
Brett Allen needs a new footy. What on earth happened there? Punctured footy. Well, now Nick Riewoldt says, you know what? That's why I missed.
Brett Allen has just thrown that ball a metre over the umpire's head. That's a 50-metre penalty.
See, it's a hard thing to do that. Bentic trying to get away, taking them on, shoveling it out. Nick Stevens now breaks it open, but it's all St Kilda. Oh, Maguire played on. Bavola wrapped him up, but he did well to get it to Sam Fisher. Presenting for him is Lee Fisher. Feeding it out wide. Good movement. Hayes. Some fluency about this build-up. Hayes goes long. Riewoldt's direction. Ball spoiled. And it's over for a behind.
And that was an example, Wayne, where they're just too crowded up there, even though they've got a lot of blokes back. When Garrick and Riewoldt are in the same square, generally their opposition come across and spoil.
Yeah, that's right. They get numbers back there. When Riewoldt's back there by himself, he seems to create a lot more space.
Saddington, the conduit for plenty of possession heading forward, but that one comes unstuck. Lenny Hayes out wide at half forward. Gehrig leading to the pocket. He goes to him, and Fraser is not paid the mark, is tackled by Thornton. Boundary throw-in. Don't get the G-Train angry. Too late.
I think he's angry. And justifiably.
Yeah.
Yep. That was a mark.
Just looking at that contest, it was Matthew Lappin that went to Lenny Hayes. As we know, Lappin is just floating across our back line, but it means that Lenny Hayes is one out.
And now we've got ourselves a Milne.
Don't get them a fine, Clinton.
It's still going.
Just a push and shove. Now it's a Milne.
It's a Milne, Wade. It's a Milne. The footy, meanwhile, Carlton just slowly progressing it down the ground. So, to be honest, the Blues more interesting.
Yeah, keep it on the melee.
And now cooler heads might prevail. Well, very angry Lance Whitnell and Stephen Powell. For our digital subscribers, press red. We'll keep the fights covered for you on one screen and the footy on the other. Del Santo on the outer wing. Montagna. Back for Del Santo. The Saints are very patient here.
Why was he getting the booze? Montagna, was he involved in that?
He was involved in the melee. Probably the fines would be just racking themselves. I reckon Steve Bracks would be jealous of the melee. It's just one of the great revenue roses.
Schwartz.
You reckon the Saints are practicing at the moment, what?
Well, they
are playing totally differently to the way they played in the first quarter.
They certainly are, and I think Carlton are definitely trying to get a few more numbers behind the ball to crowd it up because Nick Riewoldt's dominance in that first quarter, so that makes it more difficult. But
they've got this bloke, though, that can go the distance with a kick. It's just accuracy. Got under it.
He's better on the run, I think.
Short. Gee, Voss read it better than most. Unable to hang on. Milne and McGrath. And Stevie Milne hears it from the Carlton crowd as we check in with Scott.
Oh, it's just fantastic down here now. This is the problem with the footy. They've kicked the stitches out of it, so Nick Riewoldt, he's justified at the moment.
Thanks, Scott. Boundary throw in a good result for the Blues. There were a lot of Saints. Oh, it's deliberate. The natives are restless now. Saints bomb it long. Riewoldt in the pack. Walker the spoil. Will he give them a free in front of goal, and then we'll hear some howling. Stevens now. Good kick. Koutoufides.
Well, that's the kick that the Saints have got to get better at. It cost them a game last week against Geelong, and yet they bob up with exactly the same option in a crowded forward line.
Wiggins. Quick hands. Whitnell. Wide for Simpson. Oh, again, just couldn't hang on to it. Del Santo to Graham. Good smother.
True.
Second effort, terrific. Play on the call. Hayes shrugs Scotland. Missed Goddard with the tackle. Gee, for a one-sided game, there's a little bit of feeling on now. Free kick, St Kilda advantage. Play on the call. It misses Milne, and it's a boundary throw-in.
And credit to the Blues. They've certainly slowed the scoring down. They've created a little bit of spice. They've got some entertainment, as you said, Clinton. They don't look like scoring a goal, by the way, but at least they've stopped the flow, and that's the first thing you have to do.
Saints with the last 5 entries inside 50. It's 23-10 on that scoreline as Stevens rides. Kicks wide. Ackland. Only the bounce could stop him. He ducks away from White. Wants a free. Play on is the call. He goes a long way backwards to Goddard. Almost opened the door for Favola. Fisher out wide to Sam Gilbert. 19-year-old out of Southport now with his first possession in senior footy, and he goes to Sam Fisher. He'll switch again. Graham pops it up.
Once again, Riewoldt the target.
Voss as well. Big fly.
Riewoldt just becomes a stepladder under those circumstances. His career will be threatened if that continues.
Voss hurried shot. Gehrig in front. Thornton the spoil. Boundary thrown again. Leading possession winners, Graham and Hayes for the Saints. Thornton, Whitnell, Wiggins all with 10 for the Blues. Deep in attack, St Kilda. Still looking for a goal here in the second quarter. We've been playing 12 minutes. Ackland to space. Thornton gets there. Wiggins. Not really sure. Bentic now. Get it on, they say. McGrath. Now they might get some run. Kennedy, got to beat 2. Good spoil by Gilbert. Running onto it, Schwartz at half-back. Walker closing. Goddard. Back for Schwartz. Off for Luke Ball. The skipper goes wide for Lee Fisher. We are in a holding pattern. Montagna. Long. Gehrig's got a chance. One out here. Thornton with the spoil. Voss! Brilliant! Goal St.Kilda.
And that was created by quick movement from the Saints. They got it. The players were all caught in the middle of the ground. You can see here, Montagna kicks the ball. One out contest. May have been a bit stiff there, Fraser, for a free kick, but it was caused from the one out contest rather than to a pack situation.
Well, I think the other thing to learn from that is that another look at that 50-50 for a free kick. He's been a bit stiff to G-Train, but Nick Riewoldt was out on the wing. He had pushed out to create some space, dragged a couple of players with him.
Well, he's dragging Lance Whitnell, who we know gets back into those spaces.
And he's going to kill him on the way back. That's the double whammy for the Saints.
The margin is now 8 goals as the Blues get the centre clearance. Stevens waiting for it. Thompson knocking it away. Hayes the gather. Delivers towards half forward. Good pick up. Voss. Saddington the tackle. Houlihan now. Murphy's about to be caught. Saints looking good. Gilbert inside 50. Scotland getting back.
Malcolm Blight has been telling us for years that there are balls with dud stitching, so we'll be thrilled that we've got proof now with that ball coming off. Scotty showed us.
And Grant Thomas has given both his angry little men a spell. Stephen Milne and Lou Montagna both come off for a rest and to calm down a bit.
Lappin. Good vision. DeLuca in space. Now, can he hit a target inside 50? Waite provides one lead. Kennedy another. Waite claiming it. Caught. Kennedy forcing it on.
Good numbers back, the Saints.
And it's Sam Fisher feeding Andrew Thompson as Waite is a little slow to get up. Graham.
Play down. Jared Waite.
It is Waite, and he looks in a little bit of trouble.
McLaren going to have to be quick with his hands here. He wasn't. Opens the door for Del Santo. Swings on to the right. Finds Riewoldt. He can play on here or go back and have a shot.
Might be a knee with Waite. Sorry, Nick. I know you've taken a mark inside 50, but not good news for Carlton if this is his knee.
Certainly a pained expression on his face as Riewoldt lines up for his 4th goal in this match. That's the assignment. He can't execute it. And, well, the goal umpire signalled a behind. The whistle went for a mark, but a behind has been paid. Riewoldt with 3 goals, 3, and that's not a good sign. As Jared Waite is carried off the ground, who's had some problems, as we know, including the stress fracture in the foot at the start of the 2004 season. As it goes out of bounds, we'll have another look, Wayne, see if you can give us a guesstimate as to what might be the case here. Well, we can't really tell on that.
Not on that angle, but it's the left knee or ankle, I would say, Jared.
Well, from what we did see, though, I'd say that it would exclude any major damage, as in the ACL.
Carlton with just 1 behind this quarter with some injury woes as well, and they are 49 points adrift.
But you never can tell with a knee. Doesn't take much sometimes.
I think Mark Roberts a few years ago, Jared, did his knee and played out pretty much the rest of the game.
Yeah, that happens. If the capsule around the knee is really tight, you don't know it's gone until you twist a particular way and it gives way.
Harvey intended for Voss. And Voss read it so well and can line up for his 2nd.
Well, it was a brilliant kick. You just question whether or not there was time for people to get back and cover on Brett Voss.
Wasn't a great effort by Jason Saddington. He's there, and He's felt for the body. He's gone backwards. Voss steps around him and takes an easy mark.
Voss hits the post. Their last 3 meetings have resulted in St Kilda wins by 91, 108 and 80 points. We are well on the way now as we tick the half-century mark. Kick goes wide for Whitnell. Coming up on 6 minutes from half-time. Carlton with just 1 goal. A breezy day, but there's been no rain. And largely no excuse by way of nature. Carlton have just met a football team that has been stung into action. And that's happened so often this year. We've seen teams on the rebound doing well. Lappin to McGrath. Back for Whitnell. Simpson crosses midway. Now to a contest for Vola. Finally getting a look at the Sherrin. Hasn't been down there a lot this term as Goddard goes wide.
And that's one of the differences, Clinton, between the two sides. St Kilda put a lot of great forward pressure on when the ball's been down there. At the moment, there's very little coming from the Blues.
Yeah, look, there's guys down there, Jared. I know it hasn't been down there a lot, but, you know, you've got guys like Eddie Betts, Nick Stevens, Walker, Houlihan, who really haven't had too much of the ball for the Blues.
Baker is wrapped up. We'll get a bounce.
And that's one of the reasons, because of that man, Baker, playing on Nick Stevens.
Stevens now with 4 possessions. He averages 23 per game this year.
Baker's had 8.
Ball wrapped up. We'll do it again. Simon Wiggins getting a lot of the foot in the last 10 minutes.
So, Wayne, how long do you persist with that situation? Why don't you put a Stevens to the forward pocket, the back pocket, put him on Lenny Hayes?
Put him on a half-back flank.
Why don't you just drag him straight onto Lenny Hayes?
Right on cue, there he is against Hayes. Feeding Wiggins, feeding Simpson, going wide to Luca. Trying to run onto it. Bounce eludes them all. Getting away, Sam Fisher. 2 Saints collide. Thompson to Peckett. Getting it on to Blake. Stumbling on the wing. Back for Thompson, who's running. Kicking to centre half forward. Hayes in good position. Wants to play on. Swings onto the right. Unloads long from 50. And it's across the face for a behind as we head downstairs to Scott Cummings.
Yes, Jared Waite, look, he's not in a lot of pain. He's just a little bit of discomfort. The doctors are doing all the stability tests on his knee, but it's definitely the internal side, inside of his left knee. So Jared would probably be able to explain that, being the best in the business, better than I can.
Well, the old physio days, internally, you're probably looking at a medial ligament or a cartilage, but it can be one of many other things. So let's just hope it's an ice pack and he gets back out there.
Lappin on half back. Short, effective. And this is Luke Blackwell, son of former Blue Wayne, making his debut, just 19 years of age, and he wants to be safe with that first kick in league footy.
He may well be the very first player in league footy whose first kick went backwards.
Betts on the outer wing. Carlton this quarter 1 behind in 21 minutes. And again, Fev's got to work against many. Sam Fisher, dinky little kicks effective for the skipper. Pops it out in front of Harvey. Runs onto it well. Steadies, good balance, good vision. Goes to Gehrig. Will he take on Whitnell? He wants to. G-Train running and then passing out wide. Brilliant stuff to Stevie Milne. There's been plenty in reverse over the years. This time it's Gehrig to the little man.
And on his right foot too, big phrase.
Showing all the skills. He was actually just at the station there. He was just camped. He hadn't moved. Robert Harvey found him. But oh, off I go.
And well done by Lance Whitnell there, because realising Fraser is a left footer, made him go to his right foot. But
only St Kilda's inaccuracy is keeping this within the boundaries of respectability for Carlton. 8-13 now to 1-goal 3. It really could have been ugly if a 61-9 scoreline already isn't in your books. Kuda. Just his third kick of the day. Whitnell. No one there. Peckett. Going long. Riewoldt again got a flyer with many shooting over his back. Del Santo, good pickup. Goes to Gehrig again. Will he bomb this one long? Goal square's unguarded. No, he wants to try and set up Stevie again. Milne will have to kick it from about 45, and there is a fluky breeze down there.
Normally from this position you'd kick it at the right hand post, Jared, as a right footer, and it'd just come back nicely for you.
He's got this one. Number 2 for Milne, number 9 for the Saints as they march further ahead.
Well, whatever he did it perfectly, Stephen Milne. Smart play by Nick Del Santo. There's been very few players better at getting themselves out of heavy traffic than Nick Del Santo, and still being able to execute with the dexterity he does. And that's a good conversion from Stephen Milne. He's made a great return. He was given a bit of a sting, and he's responded in the best way.
Carlton have been competitive in every game this year, bar the Collingwood loss when they went down by 72. The defeats: Fremantle 15 points, Sydney just 7, Hawthorn 32, Richmond just 8. But right now 58 down, and we haven't reached half time as the kick is nicely marked by a lunging Kennedy.
Moves a little bit like Jared Waite.
He does.
I thought it was Jared leading out there. I thought he's made a recovery.
He looks like a good athlete.
Montagna. And that's a risky ball stolen by Betts. Again too far out the score. Wants to give it off by hand. Carlton players waiting to his side. He goes to Favola. He gives it a roost. All the way to DeLuca in the square. Couldn't hang on to it. A behind.
He actually did that pretty well, Justin Peckett. He just got in the space of DeLuca, and instead of DeLuca going around him and taking the front spot, he tried to drag him out, which left him with only one arm.
For many years, St Kilda had pain inflicted on them by Carlton. They won just 20 or so of their first 170. They're enjoying this as Scotland goes to the goal square, and there's again resolute defence. They don't want to concede one late. Sam Fisher helping it through for a behind. Eddie Betts, the eyes lit up. But the determination of the Saints prevailed. The kick-in might let them down, though. Blake, Graham, look out, you're caught. Tackle doesn't stick. And the Blues' last chance of kicking a goal in the second quarter goes with it. The siren will sound and end a truly horrible half for the Carlton Football Club. And now the umpires will be hoping that that doesn't continue. Baker and Stevens. Baker has blanketed the Star Blue in his 50th game in a Carlton jumper. 56 points is the margin at halftime.
Yeah, that's just a bit of frustration coming out of Nick Stevens there, but really it's all St Kilda here in the first half. From Carlton's point of view, we just have to get more out of. I know Mark Murphy, it's his first year, he's going to have his ups and downs, but Murphy, Bentick, Lappin, Walker, Houlihan, Stevens, you can go through a lot of their on-ballers. Eddie Betts hasn't had too much of it. There are a lot of players down. Get a feeling that they'll come out fired up in this second half.
I want to ask you about what Dennis Pagan will say to the Blues when we come back. Saints by 56 points at the half.
You got the shakes from your head to your...
Saints back out early, 9 goals, 13 alongside of their name. The Blues with 1 goal, 5, and the last thing Carlton need are any more injury worries, but that's what they had with Jared Waite in the first half.
Well, you just saw there that the inside of the knee was stretched a little bit when Jared's leg got entangled with Brendan Goddard's leg. So let's hope worst case scenario is just a medial ligament, which can be a week or two, or perhaps a little bit longer if it is a bit more serious. But you can also, when you stretch the inside, do further internal damage, and they're not going to know that until well into tomorrow when they get it scanned, etc. But just the sort of news that the Blues didn't need right now, so a lot more responsibility on the senior group to come up with a respectable and competitive second half, because without that there will be zero to take away from round 8 for Carlton after a good win last week.
It's no easy either for them, with Adelaide looming at Amy Stadium next week and the Crows on the rebound. But the Saints, well, good chance to build from here. Remember, they were 6 and 7 after 13 last year and still reached the last 4. But obviously they would have preferred a high finishing spot on the ladder. This, if they convert this into victory, will be 4 and 4. They play the Roos at the Telstra Dome next Sunday. Tight net huddle. Nick Riewoldt doing plenty of the talk. 3 goals, 3 alongside of his name. We'll see in a moment if Carlton have done anything different by way of matchups.
Where do you see St Kilda needing to improve over the next 6 weeks, for instance, Wayne, if they're to get back to their very best form?
Oh, look, I think in general over the whole field, Jared, I think probably not as hard. They got beaten last week by the Cats because the Cats were just a little bit harder at the footy, and we know that St Kilda pride themselves, or have over the last couple of years anyway, prided themselves on attacking the footy very hard, and the man with the footy, and I just don't think they've been that way inclined this year. And we saw from the start today, though, they hit the footy hard. They're using the ball a lot better, and that's been the big difference. And probably the quality of the opposition hasn't been great either.
Their backline hasn't been settled to any great degree all season. They've experimented with Maguire and Schwartz. Graham's only been there for the majority, well, for all of this year. But to me, their backline, if they could settle that down, it could really help them out with perhaps the Clark boys getting into those positions.
Second half underway with the Saints ruckman Ackland kicking St Kilda to centre half forward. Milne guarded by McGrath, getting the handball away, but Scotland takes it for the Blues. 56 points to make up. Lappin going wide.
Ackland pushing deep, blocking up the space for Vavola, and Koutafidis, who's now pushing out of the square.
It was a difficult one there coming off half back, and you can hear the Carlton supporters being very frustrated because of the fact they're not going direct. But when they look up, Vavola was the only option across half forward, and he was covered.
At the other end of the ground, Whitnell going back to Riewoldt, Thornton to Gehrig.
What's behind me? What's behind me?
There's Lance alongside, helping him out, Dylan McLaren filling back as DeLuca gets the hit out, but the Saints will merge. Although now Santo's handball on its way to Hayes died. He gets it back, feeds Graham on half back. Sweeping handball up to the wing, bounce eludes Powell. DeLuca runs onto it. Who will provide the spark for Carlton? Lappin feeding it off. Carazzo, good kick, not quite marking Murphy. Bounces up, pops it up to centre half forward. Bang, crash. Hayes and Maguire collide. And the ball ends up with the Saints anyway. Del Santo for Voss, marked strongly in front of Walker.
Great second effort by Matt Maguire.
Yeah, you don't like to see players collide, but it is a good sign when you have the attack on the footy, as they both did.
Another look. Voss, well, intended for ball, but Houlihan chops it off. DeLuca couldn't get there. Voss, they're playing kick-to-kick on the outer wing. Voss to look at a target, this time in Harvey, who marks. Running for him, Hayes. Del Santo there as well. Still Harvey, goes backwards. Goddard takes the mark. Out wide. Ackland. So Carlton getting back in numbers now. 34 players in the Saints attacking half, but still room enough for Troy Schwartz to get into space. He has to go back. Can Eddie Betts pick it off? Well, he can affect the spoil. Does it open the door for Carlton? Not quite. Harvey caught DeLuca the tackle. Ball's wrapped up. Good work there by Blackwell, the first gamer, and we'll get a bounce in the middle.
I'm not sure whether or not the umpire got in the way, but I reckon Eddie Betts, he hid behind the umpire, so he was blocked from Schwartz's line of vision, which would be smart football.
Ackland. Simpson brought down. Play on the call. Ackland goes again. Kick off the side of the boot. Went 15 metres, albeit vertically. Hayes, ball, Graham.
This time.
He closes to 55. He goes along to the pocket where Milne gets rid of McGrath illegally.
He just seems to lengthen his stride out when he's outside 50, and he's had 4 goes now, and he's kicked 4 mongrels, and he's generally a pretty good kick.
Just tried to overkick that one.
Thornton for Walker, and that's just a hit and hope because it's all St Kilda. Goddard centres it to the logo for Thompson, just doing it with ease, it would appear here. Carlton fans not happy off a good shepherd. Graham going for Voss, or at least deemed to be in the umpire's mind a good shepherd.
It's been interesting. Nick Riewoldt can't be bothered leading at the moment because there's nowhere to lead to.
Graham going to send it in, well, the direction of Riewoldt and Harvey, but Scotland is there to take the mark. Short ball, Murphy. Scotland for Favola, who has to come to half back to get his hands on it. He kicked Carlton's only goal 18 minutes into the first quarter, and he's conceding a lot of ground to Whitnell. And the Saints have time to flood the outer side, so there's no real switch. Whitnell goes to McLaren in the middle, and now they might be able to prize an opening. Murphy, though, is wrapped up, and that's holding the ball.
No advantage.
Good tackle by Goddard on Murphy. Couple of #1 draft picks meeting one another as Del Santo sends it wide for the G train. Will he keep it in? No.
Bit of a lull's come over this game, Jared. Obviously Carlton have realised that they don't want this game to blow out any more than it already has, although Riewoldt finds a little bit of space.
And marks.
Behind Lance Whitnell there.
Well, they pushed up expecting to have a more competitive effort at the stoppage.
Yeah, that's right. All the players behind the ball were around the stoppage or a bit within 30 metres of it, which meant Riewoldt could have led on an angle, but Del Santo decided to just put it over Lance's head.
Well, this time last week, he had a similar shot at goal, which
but
was
a lot
much
more
talked
pressure.
about, much talked about. All you can do is get the next one.
And that next one is his 4th today. The club's 10th, and the lead is beyond 10 goals. We saw a belting here last night of 102 points, and we're fast on our way, it would appear, to something similar.
I don't think he was, probably wasn't his best kick, Nick Del Santo there, but had enough on it to give Nick Riewoldt the advantage.
Remarkable how things can change in this new world of the AFL. Club fortunes from one week to another. Who could confidently predict now what's going to be happening in 14 weeks' time? Can Carlton get the clearance here? Simpson feeding it wide for the first game of Blackwell. Did well. Got it for the running lap and 2 bounces. On the wing, kick to half forward. Kuda tries the one-hander. Lee Fisher wearing him well. Del Santo says, well, I'll take it. Back to Simpson, though.
Well, Nick Stevens is pushing forward now. He lines up on Lenny Hayes at centre bounces, and then Stephen Baker runs off the square and picks him up, and Hayes goes on his merry way.
Schwartz about to be caught by Favola, gives it off to Lee Fisher, back to Schwartz. In fact, Sam Fisher and Favola there with the pressure on Schwartz did well. And the crowd like this work rate of Brendan.
Well, it was good stuff, wasn't it? I think Schwartz should have just taken him on and spin it away instead of handballing him backwards. But you can only do what Brendan Favola has done here.
Yep.
He is intercepted and he's pushed up, he's tackled, and he's given some of the Blue supporters something to get vocal about.
Let's see if it will provide some sort of spark for his teammates. Not yet, as Stevens dragged it in and loses possession to Stephen Baker.
Well, I think the Carlton supporters are under no illusions of where they're at as a football club at the moment, but one thing that they do want is effort.
That is a great punch because it was meant exactly for the bloke who's got it, and he's gone.
No free kick. Maguire to Pickett. Oh, they won't be happy if this is a goal. And it is. Have a listen to them. Carlton have received just 4 free kicks all day. Eddie Betts is fuming that he wasn't rewarded here for a holding the ball decision. And he should have been.
Yeah. Well, we saw Brendan Favola just 30 seconds ago put on a great chase and then a great attack on the footy. You saw Eddie Betts there run back with a fly to the ball, put a spoil on, and then run down a St Kilda player and not be rewarded. They're better signs, but unfortunately for the Blues, the Saints got the goal.
All you can think of is that the umpire imagined that that was a handball there, as Maguire's left arm appeared to be in a handballing motion, but
they're not meant to imagine.
No, exactly. Regardless, it should have been a free kick.
And just on the back of that,
Come on, boys.
Matty Maguire, he was just in third gear. I mean, he's a bloke who's looking for his best form. He's got to stay in top gear and keep the urgency in his game. That was a goal for him.
The line through Jared Waite. We'll see no further part, we're told, for the remainder of the afternoon. The margin is 68 points as Baker has his kick smothered. But they go again, the Saints. Montagna, Hayes, Pickett, Goddard combined. His kick smothered well by Murphy, and he'll get another chance after Houlihan paddles it to him. Now Whitnell. Handball for Scotland. Now Simpson beneath the old members stand. Kick intercepted by Lenny Hayes.
He's just having a great season. Let's hope he continues on, because we're seeing a midfielder at the top of his game.
Montagna goes in the Riewoldt direction. He's got Whitnell against him, and he's proving to be nigh on unstoppable here.
And that might just be 50.
I would have thought it was 50, and Riewoldt's hurt his shoulder, hasn't he? Well, Brett Allen was right on the mark, and he decided no 50. We'll have a look at it, Wayne. What's your decision?
Well, he takes the mark. He's in the contest. Where the umpire said he's in the contest, well, he is in the contest, but you're not allowed then throw a player to the ground, and that's what I thought this new rule was at the start of the year, that you weren't allowed to do that, to slow the play up. But once again, they bring a rule in, and then they slacken off once we get a quarter of the way through the year.
Number 5 for Riewoldt. The lead, 74 points.
Well, it was all from the interception. A short kick from Simpson that was intercepted by Lenny Hayes. He squared it. Quick kick into the space of Riewoldt, and that was dead set 50 metres. And a good shot at goal.
A blood rule. We'll see Baker come from the ground as Riewoldt has a look. So Luke Ball down on the bench will be the replacement, although he's happy to wait. They're happy to go with 17 for the time being. Eventually Sam Gilbert will go on. Well, when does it become embarrassing? 12 goals to 1 is getting awfully close to that point. Ackland and McLaren. Del Santo. Oh, Just brilliant. Hayes, deep. Thornton, good mark. And he'll go wide for Whitnell. Now Wiggins, who has 16 possessions, just 4 kicks. Maybe an indication why. Bentic.
Well, leading possession winners for Carlton, Scotland, Whitnell, Wiggins, Thornton, McGrath, all backmen, most of them.
A lot of players been slipping in that forward flank area for both sides. It's probably not getting the sun as it could, so it's a little bit wet. But you look at Carlton, they've turned the ball over a lot. They're a side now trying to play a possession game of footy, and if they're 5% off with their skills, it's breaking down, as all clubs do, but they're in the bottom of the ladder because their skill level isn't up to the required standard of the top sides in the comp.
Favola wins the free, too far out to score. Going to the hot spot, Stevens is caught behind and can't mark. Good grab by Lee Fisher.
It wasn't a great kick from Favola. Wanted to get a little bit more on that.
Contested ball one, dominated by the Saints.
Stephen Power doing himself no favours with that particular kick.
Lappin to Blackwell to Walker. And they've got the clearances covered this quarter as well as Carazzo marks. Between wing and half forward, Kuda provides the lead. Carazzo shorts it for Stevens. He thumps it long. Favola at the back. Couldn't gather it. And Thompson will clear to Milne. And now they've got some space. He's got ball short. He wants to carry it though. Stevie's on the march. 3 bounces and then wastes it. Whitnell for Thornton. 9 minutes to go in the third quarter. A quarter where Carlton have been scoreless so far. Simpson out wide. Stevens, well, has time. Peckett knocks it away from Blackwell for a boundary throw-in.
And Scotty Cummings on the boundary. Nick Riewoldt is off for a rest, replaced by Luke Ball.
Yeah, interesting move that. Nick just having a breather, and which will leave Fraser down in the forward line on his own. His leads have been ignored a lot today, and I think he's getting annoyed with it. But yeah, Nick just having a spell now.
Luke Ball also pushed up into the forward pocket.
Well, it's party time, and the G-Trains kick just one of them as Lappin takes the mark, goes out wide for Houlihan, and he's got it. Now, he can't kick long to Favola because Fev's got 2 against him unless he leads wide. He does now. And is he going to get it? He does. Good mark. But he's been pushed wide near the boundary at right half forward.
Might as well have a shot. His percentages of kicking it from there are about as good as passing it off to a mark and then someone else converting on exposed form.
Well, they're just not winning enough. Actually, that one wasn't a mark, I don't think. He took one in the first quarter, though, that didn't get paid, so that's 1-1 now. But you're right, Jared. I think every time they take a mark anywhere near there, I think they should have a shot because they're just not getting it in there often enough.
It's been more than 50 minutes since they kicked a goal. Favola breaks the drought. He's got both of Carlton's goals today.
He's worked hard, Brendan Favola. Whether he's been up the ground or back at full forward, can't be too critical. Have another look at the mark there, and no, that one hits the ground, but he can't be critical of his game today. I think he's worked extremely hard across half forward. .28 for the season now for the leading goal kicker at Princes Park for the last 3 years. Blake down for Harvey, who cops one high. And Harvey indicates play on. It will come back. And Harvey, devoid of free options, has to carry it. Now sends it wide for
Hayes. He's got Gehrig leading into the pocket. That's a good kick for him. Gee, you'd love delivery like that. And now the G-Train can line it up.
Normally likes to play on fairly quickly after taking a mark there. Big phrase, but not on this occasion. He'll have a set shot. He will run around on the left foot, though.
He's opening it up as he runs in, and he's bending it back magnificently for his second.
Yeah, you saw when he took that mark, the Carlton players automatically got into that position because he's a beauty at doing it, and often uses the umpire as a basically as a shepherd for him.
Yeah.
As the umpire's lining up the player on the mark, he usually plays on, but didn't have to on that occasion. On his left foot, opened the angle and slotted it through.
13-13 to 2 goals 5. 74 points the split as we approach time on of quarter number 3.
I think the other positive for St Kilda is the form of Brendan Goddard over the last month.
Yeah.
He across that half-back line, he was dropped a few weeks ago, but since he's been beat, better kick from Graham. That was a smart kick, not a blaze. He found his teammate.
The teammate is Hayes, who goes deep again to the forward pocket. Saddington wrestled out of it illegally. Free kick is paid.
Jason Saddington. Hit to Jason Saddington. Just put it over the neck, mate.
Thornton for Lappin. He can run. Go down the middle for Carazzo.
Lance Whitnell's been moved forward.
Murphy wide for Koutafidis. Good hands. Marks in front of Lee Fisher.
2 metres back. 2 metres.
And Whitnell on the end of this one.
Get in, Manny.
Plays on. Stevens to Favola. And Fev can line up for his third.
Well, Fisher was right behind him, and you can't ask any more of a backman than that. He hasn't got closing speed of a Carl Lewis, so he's always going to be in a bit of strife, but that required a perfect kick, and that's what it was.
It's normally where the space is on the other side of the ground, but if that gets spoiled,
It's
the disadvantage to do that, it's off.
He's provided 2 goals, 2 of their 2-5. To the punt road end. Not quite.
Riewoldt back on the ground.
Goddard receiving the kick in. Inside of 5 minutes to play in the third quarter. Lights on a gloomy afternoon at the MCG, but the rain staying away, at least for the time being, as Baker goes to Maguire in the middle. The Goose takes off. High thumping kick. Riewoldt and Saddington in front. Riewoldt has to spoil.
Well done by Saddington.
Simpson for Bentic.
Just got in front, watched the fly to the ball rather than watching the body of Riewoldt, and was able to get front position.
Well, you saw the expression on Big Red's face there. That was a great lead and smart recovery.
Scotland back for Bentic. Pops it up over the head of Whitnell. Oh, Maguire and Whitnell. 2 big men hitting at it. Simpson waiting on the outskirts. Goes in the Favola direction again. He's got to beat 3 of them, and it's Goddard over the top.
Playing on his own, Goddard, but doing a pretty good job.
Milne cleverly into the path of Baker. He'll run onto it. Should get a Shepherd. Can keep on going. Elects to kick up to Voss. Now he kicked a goal in the second term, did Brent Voss. He's going to centre this one for Riewoldt, but he's got to beat a stack of them. And he does. Terrific stuff.
That's the kick you were talking about, Wayne. There was 3 Carlton blokes there. Riewoldt was only a 30% chance of getting it. And if the turnover had come against a better side, he was in some strife, but he was good enough to grab it.
The man whose goal-kicking prowess has been heavily scrutinised is lining up goal number 6 and kicking it. The procession continues.
And that's just a tackle on the footy there by Nick Riewoldt. A lot of players in this situation take their eyes off the ball, and on that occasion Nick Riewoldt just keeps his eyes on the ball the whole way through. Carlton players spoil one another, really, take one another out. Riewoldt took what was a pretty easy mark, considering.
And at the other end there, Brendan Favola copped a knee in the back or in the kidneys as Brendan Goddard took that great grab. He's in a little bit of discomfort, not moving that well, and Carlton can ill afford that.
Just 4 blokes in the Carlton forward line at the moment, and one of them charges into the centre, so that leaves 3 against 5. Because Fisher and Del Santo are staying back.
Ball not heading anywhere in a hurry now. Carlton will clear it through Stevens, although has to be quick to Carazzo. Little fumble. Kuda back from McGrath. A lunging effort from Milne is rewarded with a holding the ball call.
And the forward line for St.Kilda open.
Milne to Gehrig. McGrath still disputing the free.
Well, it looked almost accidental, but the umpire may well have been spot on. Let's have a look at it.
It was just before that. He let go of the ball, said the umpire, as Milne had the tackle.
I wouldn't call it a tackle.
Well, he paid the free.
He paid the free. That doesn't mean he was right.
Gehrig missing to the left-hand side.
It's always the way when a free kick gets paid. The Blues, McGrath's got possession of the ball. They're all running forward, as we'll get another look at it. No, see, he dropped that ball before Milne even touched him.
It was a fumble.
Yep, but they're all running forward. Quick turnover, forward line open.
Margin is 80.
Take him on, Eddie.
He didn't. And Maguire takes the mark.
And it's just another example of the possession game. To play it, you've got to hit targets. And Carlton haven't hit too many today.
Graham drops the mark he'd normally take to put some pressure on himself, but he had some support from a pretty resolute defensive core. And now Blake, as we head towards a minute remaining here in the third quarter, where the Saints have kicked 5 goals to 1. And they might get more as Milne's closing fast. Whitnell slaps it away. Keeps it in. Handballs for Koutafidis. Now Scotland.
No one across half forward for the Blues.
Back to Lappin. Kick is short. Schwartz, great pickup. Montagna for Riewoldt. Won't get there on the full. Simpson.
Did well.
Slipped away from Harvey. Bentic for Walker. 30 seconds to go. Favola engages in a wrestle. Good spoil, Sam Fisher. Good pickup too. Now Peckett. Down to 20 seconds. Still time. Blake. 75 out. Gehrig takes the mark. Similar spot to where he kicked a goal earlier in this third term. He opens it up. He lines it up. He brings it back too far.
There's that play on that he normally does. You only have to relax a little bit on the mark, and
He's off.
He's off.
Three-quarter time at the MCG. And this nightmare of an afternoon for the Navy Blue continues. 14-15 to 2-6 on Fox Footy Sunday.
Well, it's just hard work for the Blues right now. They've got to find somebody who's got some energy, somebody who's going to lead the charge. The Saints' job has been done, and I guess for them the challenge is to stop missing targets across the half-back line. Keep the pressure on, keep the standard up, see if they can really get back to their best football. But for Carlton, they've got a lot of young kids in. They've just got to find some leadership that Dennis Pagan can take to the bank next week.
Have a competition at home. What will the final margin be? It's 81 points with a quarter to play.
Great goal.
Final term.
They're going to need that pressure right around the ground, though. Too late for anything nearing respectability, but let's hope they can be competitive this quarter.
Thanks, guys. Footy, please. Thank you. Thanks, mate.
Eddie Betts against Graham. So he's got a job of defending and attacking at the same time.
Montagna sending it wide for Hayes. What's the final margin going to be, Jared?
Well, probably about 3 or 4 more goals than it is right now.
Hayes goes deep to the hot spot. Blues have got numbers back there. Lappin spoiling. 2 Carlton players go wide as if they have to give the Saints any more goals. Gehrig gets his 3rd.
Just looking at Luke Ball, that's just prior to that carnage down in the Carlton backline. He has got an injury problem. I think everyone saw that, and you just wonder how that stuff happens. But it does, and we've all been involved in it. But Luke Ball, you wonder how much he will play for this final quarter, and whether or not there's value in just managing him off the bench as well as during the week.
Yeah, I agree, Jared. As we said at the start of the game, he's had a good week on the track, but you'd think with a lead like this, good opportunity to give him a rest.
That lead, 87. Their win 2 years ago by 108. Their best ever against Carlton.
Certainly looking like triple figures, though, isn't it?
They're queuing up again. This time Lenny Hayes elects to pass to Riewoldt. He's going to have a look at number 7.
And that's young Andrew Walker's been given the job on Riewoldt in this last quarter. We thought that he might have been given the job a little earlier. He's been given some big tasks on key forwards. Just got completely lost there at full-back. Wouldn't have played too much. Riewoldt was able to find a good 20 or 30 metres.
His kicking boots are on now. Seven for Riewoldt. And the lead is now 93.
We might end up with double figures himself, Nick. Hasn't kicked double figures in his career. I wouldn't think. I think the most he's kicked in his career is 8. Am I right, Clinton? You're usually good with those type of statistics.
Kicked 9 against Melbourne round 15 of the 04 season.
9.
Wasn't bad for memory, was it? Clinton's just plucked that one.
Yep.
And there's the rain coming. It took 8 weeks, but Scott Cummings finds rain.
Rained on.
Yeah. Walker.
That's the move you want. Back into the corridor and straight in there as quickly as possible.
And hitting someone on the chest leading out from 50. In this case, it's Simon Wiggins. 111 plays 18. Wiggins looking for his first goal of the season. And the kick is drifting away to the right, and that's through for a behind.
Oh, there he is. How is it down there, Scotty?
You're a mean man, Gribus. You've been wishing for this for weeks now, and you've finally got it. It's come true.
Everybody else has got a hat. How long do you have to do the boundary riding before you get a hat, Clinton?
2 years. Schwartz, a short and precise though with the kick for Montagna. Carlton have only had 2 scorers today. Favola 2-3, Wiggins 2 behinds, and the other 2 behinds rushed. Here's Fisher wheeling around Betts at centre half back. Now under pressure. But he did well. Gets the kick away to Harvey on the outer wing. Gehrig on a lead out wide. Now Riewoldt follows suit. Harvey will go to Gehrig, who after that first lead was turned down, just kept drifting forward and is on the end of it. Goes to Milne again. That's becoming some sort of partnership. Milne can't handle that footy on this occasion, boundary throwing.
You called it well, Clinton. What Fraser did, he made a good lead. He got ignored. Then generally what happens in today's footy, the backman drops off to stand in a bit of space. They eventually went to Fraser.
Ball caught by Scotland. Kudafiti's dumped by Baker. Simpson shoved by Milne will get a throw in. The Carlton bench without Jared Waite, who was injured in the first half with a knee. Blackwell, DeLuca and Bentic. Saints in attack, already with a couple of goals here in the last term, and Milne winning a free will line up for another one.
And in the back. Too high and in the back. No.
Just have a look here at Nick Stevens and Stephen Baker running across. There's the free kick, but in the foreground you just saw the concentration of Baker on Stevens. Wasn't interested in the footy. He was running right beside him, legally under those circumstances, and that's why it's been tough for Stevens to get near the ball.
Milne pushes this one across the face and is a shade perplexed. He's kicked 2 goals, 3 now as Walker comes off. 16-16 to 2-7. Whitnell brings it into Blackwell, who replaced Walker. Wide for Saddington, over his head near the boundary line. Look out, Wiggins and Gehrig. The G-train just slowed, and a boundary throw-in will result. Discussion between Walker and Coach Pagan as Koutafidis for Scotland for Stevens. Breaks it open. Kicks beautifully to centre-half forward. And on the lead, Kennedy's got it. Now, Favola's finally one-on-one, so Kennedy goes to him, and Favola marks.
A smart grab. Good kick, too, from Kennedy.
Was a good kick.
Year.
Worked hard, Fev.
He tapped, go!
Beautiful kick by Nick Stevens. And that's why he has to win a lot of the ball for the Blues through the midfield for them to be successful. Because of his use of the footy. Today just hasn't seen enough of it. Stephen Baker has done a great job on him.
Very deliberate approach from the Blues spearhead. And the result is perfect. He's kicked Carlton's 3 goals today. He could have done nothing more.
No, and when you're having a day like today as a team and you're playing up forward, if you can get away with kicking your 3 goals on a day where you haven't had many opportunities, you can walk off and still be fairly satisfied with your day.
And there he is this time. He was breaking. I'm not sure whether Stephen Baker was on him on that occasion. It looked like it was Robert Harvey who was responsible, but he got the run of it, and you saw the result.
Barry Hall's 5. He's up to 30 in the Coleman medal race when Hall played the Bulldogs last night. So Favola 1 shy of that at 29 in second place, as we'll get a second bounce in the middle of the MCG.
And how many games did Fev miss with suspension? Was it 1 or 2?
Yep,
just
1.
the 1. He's had a good year.
I'm going to throw it up.
112 plays 25. A crowded midfield zone now. Saints with numbers on the outside here. Montagna takes it. No one was on, so had to handball to Hayes, and he had to lateral it to Luke Ball. But now they can go with a looping handball. Del Santo, he's got Gehrig leading wide or Riewoldt deep. Plays on, back to Ball. He slips over. Murphy good on the chase.
Well, it's not often that those two would murder a chance, and you wouldn't believe it. He's got it back.
Well, they just overdid it. 1 too many handballs.
Whitnell defensive goal square. Well, that sits up, and Blackwell takes them on.
And we're a fair way from Nick Riewoldt, and I could see his eyes lighting up when both of those had the ball, but they just give it once too often.
Simpson goes back to Whitnell, and over his head. G-Train, turn around, you're a chance. He overruns it. Scotland. Free kick, Carlton. Advantage play on. Whitnell spears it to midfield. Good pick up on the bounce by the first gamer. Overrun by Kennedy. Schwartz forcing it to the boundary line. He wants that line,
that's
deliberate. So it'll be a free to the Blues.
You're going to go across the line. You've got to make sure you're accurate.
Does it go to Fev?
He'd want it. You'd reckon it'd go to Josh Kennedy.
Yep.
And it does. So the tightest of angles for the 18-year-old in his 3rd senior game. He opens it up and sends it across the face by a very long way.
Hit the belly of the ball rather than the end, and that's what happens.
10 minutes have elapsed in this final term on a forgettable day for Carlton fans to this point. They're trying to extract some positives. There are not many as Lappin knocks this one down. Powell does the roving. He's going to be caught here. Yeah, got it onto Hayes, and now Schwartz, and he'll run the lines and feed it up to Graham, and he's got Montagna, and suddenly they've crossed midfield. Montagna to Riewoldt. Is he going to get there? Yes, he does, and he can line up goal number 8.
That's the perfect kick to a forward.
We just kicked it to space. I'm not even sure whether he's genuinely kicking it to Riewoldt or not, but let's give him the benefit of the doubt. He just gave it air, didn't he? And he made Riewoldt make the mark.
That's right, and that's all you have to do when you're kicking to a forward. Kick it to space, and I can guarantee you they get to most of them.
He kicked 33 last year. This for 25 already in 06. He's got it. Number 8 today for Riewoldt.
Great return from Nick Riewoldt after a disappointment from last week. Having a very good year to date. St Kilda not at the top of their form. He is not far off being at the top of his.
11 kicks, 8 goals, 3. So
pretty good.
All of his kicks have been at goal.
As a good forward should.
Well, it tells you that he's staying at home more, Jared. He's not playing up the ground, and a lot of people think that that's where he should play. He should play that 40 back towards goal rather than further up the ground getting marks up on the wing. He's a much more dangerous prospect when he's kicking goals for the Saints.
Lappin forcing the Blues wide in the Wiggins direction. Carazzo running onto it. Goddard bearing down. Couldn't make the tackle. Carazzo slipped. Coup to feed, his handball stolen by Baker. Feeds Hayes to Peckett. Will he go back to Lenny? No. Has time to steady. Go to the wing. Good kick. And they're just queuing up here, the Saints. Powell working it for Del Santo. Got a good shepherd. Goes wide for Graham. Now he's about to have a forward lead to half forward, is he? Waiting back Gehrig and Riewoldt. Directing traffic there is Riewoldt.
So they're the kicks that really are still killing St Kilda. They're just kicks that you can't give away when you're playing top-class opposition. And there's been too many of them across the half-back line, I reckon, for Grant Thomas's liking today. It's probably the one thing that he'd say we've got to get better on from today's outing.
Worked it around to Hayes on the outer wing. At full stretch, Lee Fisher can't control it. Baker's got it. Back for Peckett. Just building up the numbers here. Hayes. Fisher again. Now Peckett. 70 out and closing. Long ball. Riewoldt in the van. He's going to try and equal his career best of 9 goals in a single match. Marks inside 50. A landslide.
It's a good kick by Peckett because it was out in front. It gave Riewoldt the run of the ball. And he's just so hard to match up on, Nick Riewoldt. He's 6'4" and has very long arms.
And athletic. And he's been kicking brilliantly, you'd reckon, on the back of that. He's going to thread that one through.
His 99th game. The lead is 99. And he's kicked 9.
And you just get the feeling that the St Kilda players know that he's now kicked 9. And they'll want to get him his double figures.
And while Nick Riewoldt absolutely slaying him up forward, Grant Thomas is resting a lot of his other stars. Thompson, Harvey and Ball all having a spell now. Be interesting whether he puts them back out there today. I don't think he will.
Their players have kicked bags before. Fraser with a 10. Stevie Milne with an 11 against Brisbane in round 22 of last year. Riewoldt closing in on double figures for the first time. Halfway through the last quarter. Hayes sending it inside 50, but McGrath can soon repel that attack. Murphy goes wide. Blackwell for Lappin. Hurry to kick to half forward. Favola being held. Wants to play on. He'll have to go back over his mark.
Has any one player ever doubled the score of the whole opposition? Because that's where Nick's at the minute.
I'm sure Scotty's done that before. As Favola with 3 goals 3 of Carlton's 3 goals 7 today. Talk about a one-man team up forward. From 55 out, he gives it a ride. And Brendan Favola has kicked his 4th. And still plenty of Carlton fans here. They are true blue, staying to what is a very bitter end.
And you can see the disappointment in Brendan Favola's face. He knows that this hasn't been a great effort by the Blues today, but he's one guy, as we've said numerous times now, he can hold his head high, not just because of the 4 goals he's kicked, but because of the effort he's put in.
And just to prove me wrong, Andrew Thompson, that's enough of his break. He's run back out to replace Brendan Goddard.
30 for the year now for Favola. So joins Barry Hall atop the Coleman medal race. Still time, though, to get another one as Stevens wrapped up by a man who has got to know his smell today in Stephen Baker. They have been close. 39,908 the official attendance this afternoon. So exceeding the estimates here just by a little bit of the Melbourne Cricket Club as Graham tracks it to half back for the Saints. First gamer Gilbert did well to get out of the spot of bother. Montagna to the wing. They've got the numbers, the Saints. Powell doubles back. Slips. Shovels it out. Carlton run onto it. Walker paddling it for Murphy, who's tackled. Got it in the path of Lappin. Just shoveling it on, shoveling it on. Bentic to Simpson. Going long. Kennedy. Voss at full stretch. Kenny couldn't quite clasp it, but Schwartz is there in support. And he's done very well.
He's done really well, I reckon, in particular over the last 18 months. He's just continued to improve. He was a slow improver initially, and there was a question mark, I reckon, as to whether or not he was going to make the grade. But he really has come on, Troy Schwartz, and is an important player for them.
Del Santo is running. Field opens up for him. Riewoldt. Not this time.
Well, that one wasn't Del Santo's fault because that was on a platter.
Yep.
Whitnell and Carlton can clear, although Murphy is met solidly. Lee Fisher, the man with the infringement.
Just a little bit late. Just a very mild coat hanger. Nothing there to get excited about.
Murphy to Favola.
His hands have been good today.
He's been excellent.
This is some sort of story. Favola with 4-3 of their 4-7 and lining up a 5th goal.
They're those half chances that Brendan Favola, when he's in form, he takes. The defender right there, but his hands were just too strong. Stewie Lowe-like.
I wonder how many eggs the Fev can have in his grasp. Not that time. 8 minutes left at the MCG. Fox Footy Sunday in Perth next week. The Eagles and Melbourne. That will be something. Oh, that's an ordinary kick in. Fed's got another go. He's now kicked 4 goals 5. Coaching to the end, Dennis Pagan, as the kick into Schwartz is not 15. Play on the call. Now Graham. Baker. Looping it over the top. Fisher. to Blake. Montagna. Still thinking of a three-figure victory here, St Kilda. Gehrig in the path of this one. Just gave Whitnell a subtle nudge. Got rid of him. Couldn't hang on to it, though. It will come back soon enough because Peckett on the boundary at half-forward. Drives it long. Ackland fourth in line. Couldn't get the mark. Now Lappin for McLaren. He's about to be collared illegally. Free kick back to the Blue Ruckman.
Just watching Jason Graham a couple of times today. He's floated long handballs to stationary targets in front of him. And it's maybe the most dangerous possession in the game right now. In a flooded midfield, flooded defence. If you give your teammate a ball 15 metres, you're almost better off chipping it. So if he does take it, he can stop and get the protection of a mark. There's a number of times the bloke he's given them to have been under a fair bit of pressure.
Stevens with the steal. Now Carlton, for one of the few times today, can get some run going to their forward line. Favola on the lead. He'll be too far out. The kick's over his head regardless. Carazzo running into Del Santo, turns it over. Blake.
Oh, nice tap.
Deftly gets it to Hayes. He's got Baker in the middle. Can he get it onto the loose man at half forward? He does. Tomo's got it. Can play on. Riewoldt screaming for it. Saint saying give it to him. He didn't see him. Riewoldt doubles back and comes again. Just can't quite get the chance at number 10. Thornton.
You can hear the crowd. The crowd wanting to get his 10.
Wiggins. Whitnell. Over the top, and Carazzo's got it. Lights have been on for a while, although heading for a very early finish. Haven't been long quarters today. No ads on Fox Footy. Simpson away. Kick smothered. Favola running onto it. Betts lurking. Can someone other than Favola kick a goal today for Carlton? Not yet. We'll get a bounce.
Didn't drag it in, my ball. Thanks, Lenny. I appreciate the improved communicator, though, mate.
Brett Allen. Oh, DeLuca won it down superbly if Hayes was a Carlton player.
Lenny Hayes read that like he was at Carlton's training.
He's had 32 possessions now, and 8 marks has Lenny Hayes. And 11 entries inside the 50, number 1 in that category, providing the drive as Wiggins marks on the 50. Carlton's only other scorer today, along with the 2 rush behinds. He won't score there. Voss finds the boundary line.
That was just a perfect backman's punch. He was in front, he knocked it back over to the safety of the boundary line. I don't think we'll play Scotty next year in the wet. He just, as soon as it rains, we're going to have to do a Simon Beasley. We're going to have to interchange him because he just goes to water. He just clogs up. You're still with us, Scotty?
Yes, it's great down here, boys, and I'm still really interested in the game.
Free kick coming back to St Kilda against Feb for a hold. He says he was being held. You be the judge. Saints work it up to the wing with Blake. Milne running for him. Thompson gives it to Milne, and then Shepherds. Murphy closing. Milne gets away. And the kick dies. He's got 2 goals for.
And Nick Riewoldt, actually, I was watching him to see whether he was going to make a lead. He actually tried to put a block on for Big Fraser. So good team footy, Nick Riewoldt. Not worried about his 10, just trying to do the team thing.
Yeah, it was a good block.
He might get a chance here. He hands this one off. Can Lenny Hayes seal his magnificent afternoon with a goal?
Oh.
No.
He's got one of the best sidesteps in the business, Lenny Hayes.
Well, he's a New South Welshman. He would have played a fair bit of touch up there as a young kid, maybe some rugby.
Laurie Daly would be happy with that sidestep.
The margin is 93 points. 3.5 minutes to go. They've beaten the Blues just once by more than 100 in their 109-year history of meetings between these two clubs. This is game number 200. The Saints have only ever won 41. This will be number 42 of 200. But it will be 7 in a row, their best ever winning streak, as Simpson goes to centre half back. Scotland out wide. McLaren squeezes the kick forward, and Lance Whitnell, well, he might deny Feb the honour of being their only goal kicker today.
Might be a little bit beyond Lance this distance. He'll have to kick it 50, 54, 55.
Out to the right. Help through for a rushed behind.
It's a good call in trying to kick it further. He actually kicked it shorter. If you know what I mean. Timing
and technique equals distance. A lot of players try to really thump the ball when they try to kick the ball long distances, where it's just a matter of making sure that your timing's correct. Same as a golf swing, even though I can't hit a golf ball too far.
Bernie Quinlan was probably the best exponent of that, the most relaxed kicker you've ever seen, who could just roost the football. Super boot.
Well, those young faces behind Nick Stevens still enjoying their day at the footy, even though their team's not going to have much success. And the Saints standing tall. Ackland. 2 minutes to get Nick Riewoldt number 10 or a 100-point win. Or perhaps Favola's 5th. Montagna, good carry, long kick, no one back there. St Kilda. Lappin on a collision course with a G train, and the boundary line wins out.
Let's get the script going here, Clinton. We need for Nick Riewoldt, a quick take into the arms of Nick Del Santo. It's going to be tough because he's in the square beside him, so let's pluck someone else, maybe Andrew Thompson, and then bang it down the throat of Riewoldt.
Can it happen? We'll get a bounce, stop the clock, 1:37 to go.
He's going to have to work hard because Wiggins is right in his runway.
Too slippery. Here we go.
Nick's saying, get him out of there. McLaren leaping high for the hit out. Bounce eludes Milne, but not Scotland. Off to Stevens for Walker. Plays for the free, no. Thompson for Hayes. Back for Thompson. There's the sidestep. Now Riewoldt's a chance. Kick comes to the 50, all Carlton. And Wiggins, who filled that gap, takes the mark, and we're down to a minute 10. Thornton away. Providing support is Simpson. Whoops. Neat little sidestep around Gilbert over the head of Riewoldt with that handball. Free kick, Carlton advantage, no. So it will go to Lappin with 1:02 remaining. Rain getting heavier for the folks' trip home. 39,908 were here. Lappin kicks inside the 50. Kennedy on the lead, couldn't get it. Thompson knocks it away.
Not quite, Scotty Cummings.
Yep. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, never been good in the wet. Never.
Final minute.
The abominable snowman.
Murphy away. Saints on the rebound, and they got one last chance. 100 seems beyond them now. Well, where's Graham going with that kick? They switch almost out of habit these days. McLaren, well, he sold Bentic into all sorts of trouble.
24 seconds.
Get it on. Give Nick a chance. He's got 9. Milne goes quickly. Baker's got space. Now, Riewoldt on the lead. He doubles back. So Gehrig leads. Down to 8 seconds. Riewoldt on the lead. Kick it to him, Stephen. He does. Can Riewoldt mark it and beat the siren?
Push out.
Oh, no free kick.
Umpire.
Oh, what? Siren sounds to end a horrible afternoon for Carlton. And a truly amazing afternoon for St Kilda. Riewoldt gets 9. They win it by 92 points.
Well, what more can you say? St Kilda, pretty impressive today, although Carlton didn't put up too much of a fight. Dennis Pagan will be pretty disappointed. They really didn't have too many winners on the day. I thought Lance Whitnell and obviously Fev were pretty good, but other than that, there weren't too many other players that played well. But for St Kilda, they were lining up, Jared.
They were, and their coach boldly stated that his players would answer the critics. He had great faith in them. They certainly did that against the Blues, but it'll be the next month of footy when they come up against a more highly quality and qualified opposition that they'll get that opportunity to really reassert themselves. But let's go down to a couple of great full forwards.
Thank you very much, Jared. Rui, that'll shut him up for a little while, mate. 9 goals, beautiful effort.
Oh, yeah, I suppose the last few weeks we've been below par. Pretty much all season we've been below par, and last week was very disappointing. So wanted to come out this week and start to do some of the things that we consider we do pretty well, the way we should do them. You know, contested ball, winning the hard and tough footy, that sort of stuff, and I think we did that today, so it was good.
Mate, last week obviously hurt you guys. I watched you at the quarter time and 3/4 time huddles. A real resolve about you. Could this be the awakening of the Saints?
Oh, let's hope so. I mean, you know, so far this season it's almost deja vu compared to last year, where we left our run a little bit too late. But you know, fingers crossed. We've got a couple of guys that are going to come back into the side, and hopefully that'll strengthen us up. But we did things well today. That you know, we hang our head on hard ball, all that sort of stuff. So he's hoping it's the start of something a bit bigger.
You and the big unit, Fraser, sort of swapped roles today, didn't you? He did a lot of the work up the ground, and you stayed a bit closer to home.
Yeah, it's good to have that versatility. And last week we saw that Geelong put on that flood and just sort of tried to come back and blanket myself, Fraser and Sammy. And today it was good. We were able to get it in a lot quicker and more one-on-one contest, which is what we're after as a forward.
Go check with Fraser if he likes that versatility, mate. Well done here, buddy. We'll see you later on.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you, Scott. The Saints may have kicked 18 goals, but they didn't have a wealth of goal kickers, just 6 themselves. Riewoldt with the 9, Gehrig with 3, Baker and Milne 2 each, Voss and Peck at the singles. And for Carlton, I'm trying to remember the last day that they had just 1 goal kicker, perhaps that day that Marcus Siri kicked the goal at the then Western Oval some 15 years ago. That might be it. All joy for the Saints as they square their season away at 4-4. They'll get a healthy percentage boost courtesy of this win as well, and they will move back into the top 8. They will go past Hawthorn. They play the Kangaroos at the Telstra Dome next Sunday, while for Carlton 2-6 off to Amy Stadium to take on the Crows next Saturday, and their percentage will really take a hit.
Yes, it certainly will, Clinton. Carlton, what a big game for them next week. I mean, obviously not too many people were predicting that they were going to make the 8 this year, but they've got a tough assignment going to Adelaide next week on the rebound. But for the Saints, as Rui said, this might be the awakening for them. This might be the little kick that they need to kick their season off. They're now level 4-4.
We'll come back and talk more about a great day for the Saints. They win it by 92 points.